is the free astro theology class, y'all. So we're going to continue on with Peter. And there's a lot of good stuff in here on Peter, y'all. Let's see, is that better? All right. A lot of good stuff in here on Peter. So let's pick it back up. Let's pick it back up. So we're identifying who Peter really is. Okay. So far, in my opinion, the author has done everything that he claimed he would do in this chapter. All right. So we're going to pick up on page 55. Page 55, y'all. Page 55. Okay, so we left off on the keys of the kingdom of heaven. So we're going to pick back up there on page 55. Keys of the kingdom of heaven. This is number 2. All right, number 2. Let me give this context. In our last video, we talked about 2 points, which are, the first point is on page 154. And this is what it reads, how it reads. The ship into which Christ entered was Simon's ship. The house into which Christ entered was Simon's house. And we have 4 partners. And I'm going to skip down. Okay. Hey. All right. So let's skip down. Number 1. Still on page 154. The primacy or first placed in the apostleship, so Peter is given primacy, right? He's the first of the apostles. All right, in terms of honor, power, he gets the keys of the heavens, right? Keys to the heavens. And he also is called the stone. Christ said, I'm going to build my church upon this stone. All right, Cephas. So the primacy or first place in the apostleship is evidently given to Peter on no score of superior merit. So you'll find nothing in the Gospels that says that Peter is the most outstanding apostle. So therefore, due to merits, Peter gets to be the main apostle. It's not because of that at all. So the author's point is that there has to be another reason. And of course, the reason is purely astrological. All right, the astrological analogy. So let's continue. And it can be known and can be accounted for, on no other principles. So it wasn't merit. All right, he didn't earn it. He wasn't better than anybody else. Then the analogy of his character. So here's the reason. And the absolute identity of his name. The absolute identity of his name, y'all remember, as Simon Bar Jonah, the first of the signs of the Zodiac, which is Aquarius. Now, that's Aquarius in January. So you have to make the distinction now. Okay, so modern astrologists begin the year with March. So Aries is the first of the zodiac signs. But that's not what he's talking about right now. He's not talking about modern astrologers. He's talking about in modern times, which leads us to another big question. So what's the beginning of the year in the West, y'all? It's January. It's January. That is an unnatural. Unnatural means hybrid. That is a unnatural beginning of the year. Y'all see it? Why is that? Why is that? Because Christianity is Capricorn, corporate domination, right, y'all? Corporate domination. Maritime admiralty law is birthright theft. Maritime admiralty law, Catholic canon or Christian canon, corporate policy, replacing natural law. Therefore, y'all think about this. Think. There's a covenant of grace and there is a covenant of work. There's a covenant of work. All right, which is March, the vernal equinox. So everything that we're talking about right now has to do with Aquarius leading into March. And y'all gonna see that. All right? So the covenant of work, meaning you need to work. You don't have any birthrights, so therefore you need to pay a tax. Tax time, right? Unnatural year, covenant of work, no rights. So therefore your labor can be taxed, right? Y'all got it? It's unnatural. The covenant of work. Let's continue. Whereas our ancestors, we are in the covenant of grace, which is the harvest. Everything is provided, given to us for free. Mother Earth gives us her bounty for free. Right, y'all? For free. In fact, the entire year, from Aquarius pouring out his water, the thawing of winter, the breeze, well, the spring breeze, the spring winds, the rebirth or regrowth of the next generation, the growth and maturation that occurs in the summer, the sun rays being soaked in and absorbed, the plants soaking in and absorbing the sun rays, right? Remember, light is life. Sunlight is life, according to Scripture. Christ said, I am the truth and the life. Also the light. All right? So all of these events, even the death and deterioration that occurs in the winter, all of this is for the purpose of the climactic part of the year, which is the harvest. Grace. Y'all got it? But anyway, let's go back to the text. So Peter has primacy amongst the apostles only because of his name. What's his name? His name, one of his names, he has many, is Simon Bar-Jonah, the first sign of the Zodiac, which is Aquarius, right? Janus Aquarius. If y'all are new here, if this is your first time watching, go back and watch the last 2 or 3 videos that I did, beginning with, you need to watch the videos at St. Peter. Okay, St. Peter. It's the last 2 or 3 videos that I've done. Okay? All right, so Simon Bar-Jonah, the first sign of the Zodiac, Aquarius, the water bearer, from which the name of the month of January, January, or January, January, takes its name. Followed as you see that month, I'm going to repeat that. Followed as you see that month is by the sign officious of February. Boy, this old English can be complicated, right? So February comes after January, right? And in January, that's Pisces. Okay? Pisces. All right? So we have the water bearer, Aquarius, pouring water into the big fish's mouth, okay, in January. And then in February, we get the fishes, okay? Which the man, this is Aquarius, which Aquarius pouring out of his urn of water seems to be pursuing, okay? So again, Aquarius is pouring water out of his urn, out of his jar, his jug of water, into the big fish's mouth. Y'all got it? Into the big fish's mouth. The big fish is called Formalhold. Okay? Hence, the allegorical character of a fisherman given to the Peter of the Gospel. And the belief that Janus was the son of the ocean, and that Janus was the son of the ocean, and the invariable accompaniment of a boat or ship. Sorry, y'all, I'm being distracted by this music. Not the music itself, but I'm concerned with YouTube giving me a strike if the music gets recorded. Can y'all hear the music? If you can hear that music, put a 1 in the comment section. I'm very close to 1,000 subscribers. It'll be a shame if I get a strike, right, and then they don't remove the restrictions. I think I'm 12 away, y'all. Y'all subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I just need 12 more to get to 1,000, and then the restrictions will be removed. So y'all do that for me, okay? If you already subscribed, get some other people to subscribe. And then that way we have a bigger reach. All right, more people will be able to see this video. And that's the closer we get to the 100th monkey phenomena. All right? Which is what the goal is. Anyway, let's continue. Hence the allegorical character of a fisherman given to the Peter of the Gospel. And the belief that it's so bright in here, y'all. It's really, really bright. Let me try to get out of the way of the sun. It's kind of blinding me. Hold on. All right. So that's why Peter is given the profession of a fisherman, y'all. Because of the relation of his name to fish, Aquarius, etc. Okay? But of course there's more to it. Let me see. All right. Anyway, let's continue. All right. And the belief that Janus was the son of the ocean and the invariable accompaniment of a boat or ship in all representations of the Janus of the mythology. Okay, y'all? So we do see that with Peter. The fish. Peter is a fisherman, right? Fishing, water. Jesus went on his ship, went on Peter's ship, etc. The water which Aquarius or Janus pours out of his urn is swallowed by the great southern fish, Formalhold. Oh, that's what I just mentioned that. Formalhaut. So y'all Google that and you can see the constellation Formalhaut, which is the big fish or the whale that swallowed Jonah. Hence the allegorical fiction of Jonah the fairy tale of Jonah being swallowed by a whale in the Old Testament, and the no less allegorical danger of St. Peter being drowned in the New Testament. Y'all got that? That's where it's coming from. Both of those stories, Aquarius pouring water out of his jar, his urn, into the big fish's Fomalhaut's mouth. Fomalhaut is in the southern part of space. Okay, that Aquarius is pouring the water into. Okay? 2, the keys of the kingdom of heaven, given to Peter in those words of Christ, quote, I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. So y'all, what's the gates of hell astrologically? Well, the gates of hell, I think the date is September 29, the opening of the gates of hell, and then winter time is hell. Winter time is hell. Okay, y'all? Let's continue. All right, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Is a sort of language, well, that's the end of the quote. So that is the sort of language to which any notion of literality, history, or absolute fact can no more attach than to the language of Aesop's fable. So what is he saying here? He's saying that this quote by J.C. the Christ figure, he's saying that this quote by J.C. the Christ figure cannot be historical. It cannot be something that actually happens in the physical world. Why? Because heaven is a spiritual place. The key is physical. Keys are either made of copper, iron, steel, or wood, right? And the lock that the key opens is also made of the same things. So they're physical, they're not spiritual. Okay? So can a fleshly body go into heaven? Absolutely not. Y'all see it? So this is clearly not something happening in reality. Reality meaning, specifically meaning what reality means. Those things that you can only experience with your senses. All right. So now let's continue. So this is the meaning of this quote that J.C. the Christ figure said is not literal, it is not historical, and therefore it is not factual. It is not factual. So what is it? It's another story with a moral, a fable, like Aesop's fable. Y'all remember the story? The tortoise and the rabbit, right? There's a race. The tortoise is chillaxing, chilling, relaxing, ain't worried about it. I haven't heard that in so long. But the rabbit runs all the way until he gets near to the finish line. Then he takes a break. He thinks he's gonna win because he's the fastest, right? But the tortoise, the turtle, he's just making his way, little by little, making his way, little by little, making his way. And then lo and behold, while the rabbit is sleeping, the turtle crosses the finish line. So the slowest animal on the planet wins the race. And the point is of the fable is just because you may be the richest, the fastest, the most capable, the most talented, the most beautiful, the most handsome, whatever your gift might be, does not mean you're going to win. Right? You could self-sabotage yourself or have an accident. So that's just so the moral of the story is what? The moral of the story is what I just said. Okay? All right, so it's more like a fable. What Christ's words were is a fable. Now, this is the author saying it, not me. So let's see what he has to support his statement. We must renounce our reason altogether. That's if we're going to believe this statement about Jesus giving Peter the keys to the heavens, and whatever he looses on earth will be loosed in heaven. That whole statement. Okay, we have to stop thinking and just accept. We must renounce our reason altogether, and so the greater fool or madman we can make of ourselves, the better. So the more you get into Christianity, the more you believe, the more of a fool you become. To dream of such a thing as a heaven with keys to it, the key to the pantry door, and literal gates of hell, and a power, either given or possessed by any human being or divine being, either to bind or loose, according to the caprice of his arbitrary will. In other words, if he had a bad day, or if he feels lazy, remember the unrighteous judge, y'all? Will bind you or loose you. Somebody offers him something, somebody's bugging him because of you, will bind you or loose you. Okay? Has nothing to do with justice. That's the point. All right? He's binding people or loosing people. It has nothing to do with justice, nothing to do whether you kept the law or not. That's the author's point. Okay, y'all? And see, this is the hypocrisy of Christianity. And they're telling you right there that it has nothing to do with justice. Okay? Otherwise, if it has something to do with justice, it would have given the criteria, which is supposed to be what? Following the law, keeping the law. And this renunciation of men's reason, it is, that has given ground to the insane arrogance of papal power. Now, y'all see that arrogance now. They just do it right in your face because they know, one, you probably don't see it, and number two, if you do see it, you're too afraid to say anything. Okay, why? Because they know what they've done to you through their public school system and through their policy enforcers, the police, through their policy enforcers, through their de facto courts. They know what they've done to you, the type of psychological damage that they have done to you. They know your state of mind. And they know exactly what they can do to you and get away with it. That's why they're so arrogant about it. You have to be really arrogant to move pedophile priests from one diocese to another. Get on TV and apologize and say, I repent. But yet you keep that priest active. Or like another religion, you just move them around, hide their records. Okay, pay a daily fine to the court, to the de facto court. You pay a daily fine. Start selling off your properties so you can just pay those daily fines. Try to move all of your activity online. Y'all know who I'm talking about. This organization used to be known, and they used to brag about how they take people to court, right? And they always win in court. So what does that tell us? Well, they're Templars. They're Templars. Law. And so they had the protection of the de facto courts. That's why they always won. They didn't win. The victory was given to them. All right? Because they were serving a function. And they were manufacturing proof, evidence. Fake proof, fake evidence. So that the people who they witnessed to would believe that they're God's chosen people, that that's God's organization. The Tetragrammaton's organization. Y'all got it? But this is the arrogance that they have. And it's much worse than that, y'all. Y'all know it is. Look at what they do to the homosexuality, the adultery that goes on, the way they disrespect people, the way the elders dog out the members of the congregation, just dog them out. Because they know they can get away with it, right? That type of arrogance. But anyway, talk to you really bad. Okay? And then try to appear to be spiritual. Anyway, let's continue. Okay. And the no less insane tyranny of our Protestant clergy. Now, the religious organization I was in, they were tyrants, but they hid it very well. I come to realize that they're Knights Templars. I come to realize so much about that organization. That they show right there in people's face in their art. Very wicked organization. Very, very wicked. And the infinite miseries, a lot of those people in that organization are miserable, but they pretend to be happy when they go to the Kingdom Hall. But they're miserable. Cruelties. Y'all know the war, okay? Y'all know how cruel Christians can be. And crimes. That organization I was in, they would cover up their crimes and they would say they need to protect the organization. They need to protect God's organization, right? Which religious insanity has entailed on the Christian world. Now remember, y'all, this is in 1831. By this time, the Muslim way of life had been converted into a religion also, right? Islam. So, comparatively speaking, Islam must not have been nearly as bad as Christianity, okay? At least publicly. Same as today. Or so it seems, right? I can't say because I'm not living in a Muslim country. Anyway, let's continue. But use your reason. And how beautiful, how sublime is the allegory. You have the key of the kingdom of heaven, as it were, put in your hand by Christ himself, in his own express declaration that to preach the gospel was, hold on, y'all. Okay, so by his own express declaration to preach the gospel. Notice this, y'all. This is the point. Notice this. Jesus said this himself. To preach the gospel was to, quote, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord, end quote. Jesus says to preach the gospel is to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. So what is the acceptable year of the Lord? Okay, that is, or which means, than which no explanation could be plainer. Here it is. To preach the gospel is to set forth the annual phenomena of nature. To set forth the annual phenomena of nature under the beautiful type of an allegorical history in which the SUN Son is represented as Jesus Christ and the 12 apostles through which the Son enters, passes through and exits, through which he sheds his bright beams of light upon the world, are the 12 signs of the Zodiac. So Jesus Christ is the Son. The 12 apostles are the 12 signs of the Zodiac. Okay? So the Son passes through each of those signs. When it passes through once, that's one cycle, right? That's one cycle around the Zoad. The Zoad. Okay? Let me say it again. Somebody's smoking a cigarette. I hate cigarettes. You know, when you breathe it in, you can taste it. And it's poison to begin with. So for people to do that it's you know, but in Southeast Asia, y'all, most people smoke. It's so sad. And from what some people were telling me, in Southeast Asia, people just drop dead. They just drop dead. And I can understand it because they smoke, they chain smoke. Cigarettes are so cheap here. They smoke one cigarette after another. And then when they get money, they go drink. A lot of the men, sadly, well, I'm not going to say it, but they drink a lot when they get some money. So they have a custom here where, say if you have a wife, your wife is going to take your check. They call it a salary. You get your salary, your wife takes it. Because she already knows when the man gets some money, he's going to go visit some girls. He's going to party and drink it up. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So the woman takes the salary. And then the man is left figuring out how he's going to get some more money. So he can do it anyway. That's true. That's true. All right. Okay. But anyway, where was I? Oh, the keys to the kingdom. So what does this mean? Remember, number 2, the keys of the kingdom of heaven were given to Peter. In the words of Christ, I say also unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock, Cephas, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Clearly, that's not historical. It's not literal. All right? So what does it mean? The author is giving us the meaning at the bottom of page 115. But use your reason, and how beautiful, how sublime is the allegory. Okay? You have the key of the kingdom of heaven. Christ himself put it in your hand. I'm paraphrasing. In Christ's own express declaration that to preach the gospel was to, quote unquote, preach the acceptable year of the Lord, end quote. That is, than which no explanation could be plainer. To preach the gospel is to set forth the annual phenomena of nature. That's what to preach the gospel is. It's not going out doing street corner work, or I think the Hebrew Israelites call it camp. That's not what it is. Astronomically or astrologically, it, again, as it says, it is to set forth the annual phenomena of nature. So we've been talking about Aquarius and Janus, right? Peter, Jupiter. All of this has reference to what month? January. January. So January is the beginning of the year for the nations, right? For the nations. Right? Modern astrologists, again, I'm doing like a review. Modern astrologists has the beginning of the year beginning in March. Not January, but in March. But the nations, the political powers, has the beginning of the year in January. Janus, Peter, Aquarius. Okay, now let's continue with the paragraph, page 156. Under the beautiful type of allegorical history in which the sun sun is represented as Jesus Christ, we went through that. The 12 apostles are represented as the 12 constellations. Okay, so when the sun enters into a constellation, it enters at 30 degrees. So Christ begins his ministry at 30 degrees. The sun exits each constellation at 33 degrees. Okay? So this is where we get Christ starting his ministry at 30 degrees and ending it at 33 degrees, or 33 degrees of Freemasonry. Y'all got it? It's astrological. All right, now let's continue. So Janus or January has two faces. The one looking downward upon the old. So Janus has a face looking back over the past year, and another face looking forward to the new year. All right? The other face upward on the new year. Y'all got that? Why is it upward and downward? Because remember, December 25, the sun changes direction, and it's moving northward. Okay? From December 25. So one face is looking down south, and the other face is looking up north. Okay? Got it? Two. How Reuben, does the page turn? Okay, yeah, 2. Page 156, number 2. How Reuben, the first of the 12 patriarchs, who is the same Aquarius. So Reuben is Aquarius. Aquarius is Reuben and Peter. Reuben is the first of the tribe of Judah. All right? Reuben is described in the Pentateuch as the quote-unquote, he shall pour out water, he shall pour the water out of his buckets. So Reuben is pouring water out of his bucket, out of his urn. This is Aquarius. Y'all see that? So Reuben is Aquarius. 3. Let me clarify that, y'all. Hold on. Reuben is the first of the 12 patriarchs, the first of the 12 tribes. Okay? 3. How the son of man, who is the same Aquarius in the Psalms, the S-O-N Son of Man is Aquarius in the Psalms, is described as, quote, the man of his right hand, who God, that is, the S-U-N Son, quote unquote, made so strong for his own self. Now, I don't really get that. I'm going to have to do some research on that. So I'm not going to comment on that. 4, how the prophet Jonas, Jonas, who is the same as Aquarius, was swallowed by the whale. Okay? Jonas was swallowed by the whale. The prophet Jonas, who is the same Aquarius, was swallowed by the whale. The whale is Fomalhaut. Y'all remember Fomalhaut, the constellation Fomalhaut. How when you go into the city, the heavenly Jerusalem, quote, there shall you meet a man bearing a pitcher of water, end quote, who is the same Aquarius. Y'all know the story, right? Christ told his disciples to go into the city, and they would see a man carrying a pitcher of water go into his house. Okay, so that's the same Aquarius, the water bearer of January. How John the Baptist, who is the same Aquarius, comes baptizing with water to repentance, saying that, quote unquote, they should believe on him who should come after him. That is the S-U-N Son. Y'all see this? John the Baptist is saying you should believe on him who comes after him. So John is Aquarius. What zodiac comes after Aquarius? Which zodiac comes after Aquarius? Let's continue. And what comes after Aquarius? Well, January, February. Okay, so we get into January and February. That's ending the winter months, and the summer months are beginning in March. Y'all remember that? March begins the kingdom of the heavens. So 7, how Simon Bar Jonas, who is again the same Aquarius, is always connected with the idea of water and fishes, has the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Now remember, the kingdom of heaven are the summer months, March, Aries through September. So the keys to those 7 months, are the 7 congregations, are the 7 candlesticks. Remember, y'all, in Revelation. Okay, scholars? As he stands as the first month, as January, as Aquarius stands as the first month of the year, not the natural year, the hybridized year. Okay? The hybridized year begins in January. Or the Gentiles year, maybe we can say it like that, begins in January. Y'all got it? As he stands, that's the sun. That's Aquarius. As he stands, Janus, as the first month of the year, and has the power of binding up the heavens in frost. Right? Very cold January. Whose effect is felt throughout all nature, or loosening them in thaws. Let's go back to what J.C. the Christ figure said. So Janus, Aquarius, has the power to bind up the heavens with frost or to loose it with thaws. Let's go back to what JC said. The keys of the kingdoms of the heaven given to Peter in the words of Christ, quote unquote, I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth, bind as in freezing it, frost, shall be bound in heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt loose as in thaw out on earth, shall be loosed or thawed out in heaven. The physical world, y'all. The atmosphere. See, in order for it to be frozen on the ground, the temperature has to be above freezing in the atmosphere, right? Right, y'all? So there we have it. That's what's meant by the binding and loosing. Let me go back to what number are we on? 7. Oh, okay, yes, 7. Okay, so let's go back to 7. I lost my place. So 7. How Simon Bar-Jonas, who is again the same as Aquarius, is always connected with the idea of water and fishing, has the keys of the kingdom of heaven, as he stands as the first month of the year, and has the power of binding up the heavens in frosts, whose effect is felt throughout all nature, or loosening them in thaws, and deluging us with rain, of which, in like manner, everything on earth is loosened and liquefied. With this only consolatory assurance that, quote, the gates of hell shall never prevail against it, end quote. That means the gates of hell shall never prevail against it, means, or that is, be it frost or thaws, the bindings or loosenings of January, what they may, so whether January binds or loosens, whether January freezes or thaws out. The Escheat sun has given such power to this first month of the year, that's to January, that the gates of hell, that is the months October, November, and December, which the Escheat sun passes through, in autumn and winter, will never be able to recover their empire. Y'all got that? So when the sun goes through, so during the months of October and November and December, the wintry months, there will not be another winter. Okay, that kingdom is over. Okay, so the wintry months, again, that's hell. The wintry months is hell. Okay? So once the sun passes through, or once we get to the end of October, November, and December, they will never be able to recover their empire. The cycle is over. Okay, we'll see winter again next cycle, but not again this cycle. That's what he's saying. And January, the rock of ages, in January, the rock of ages, with all his ruggedness, or frost, or thaws, January can be very hard. I remember when I lived in Poland, y'all, there were people who were freezing, like homeless people. They were freezing on the street. Yeah. They'd have to come pick up dead people. Froze on the street. Homeless people. Frozen on the street. Okay? So January, the rock of the ages, with all his ruggedness or frost or thaws, by the evidence of his lengthening days, assures us that. And there's a quote, we're on page 157. Though horrors round our mansions reign, yet spring shall come and nature smile again. All right? So when winter is over, that's the end of the yearly cycle. That's it. Spring will come. The wintry months are not coming again during that cycle. And hence, let me check the time. Hold on. Let me check the time. I think I'm going to stop doing these reviews, or at least make them significantly shorter, because we can cover a lot more material if I don't do the review. All right, the sun is so... Okay, y'all, so let's continue. And hence we have the meaning of that conundrum, that in the days of November and December, which are now gone by, we desired to see one of the days of January, that is, one of the days of the Son of Man, and we're not able. Y'all got that? So January is also one of the days of the Son of Man. And we're going to get into that. But we covered that. We covered that before. But we're going to look at it from a different perspective now. Okay? And I know this is true because I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up on the East Coast. And in October, where I'm from, it was just now beginning to snow and get cold. But when November came, you were already tired of winter. You wanted summertime. In December, yeah, you don't want winter anymore. You can't wait for winter to be over. So I can personally relate. To this from my own experience. Okay? All right. So again, we desire, in November and December, we desire to see one of the days of January, which means one of the days of the Son of Man. And we're not able. We want the summer months to come back. And we have this distinctive axiom laid down by the speaker in the Gospels as a guide and clue to us in the astronomical interpretation to prevent the confusion and cross-purposing which would appear to arise from the sun sun being spoken of as the sign in which the sun sun is. Okay, so that's confusing. And the sign in which the sun sun is as the sun itself. All right? That's confusing. But again, as we just saw, and we're going to see it again, that this Aquarius is the sun. Why? Because Jesus is the sun. Let's continue. The disciple is not above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his Lord or equal to his Lord. End quote. And hence, the equal respect paid in the heathen mythology to Janus, Janus, equal respect as to the supreme Jupiter himself. So Janus is given equal praise and recognition as Jupiter. And each of the 12 great gods, whom spoken of separately and distinctly, being each in turn spoken of and addressed as the one supreme and only, capital G-O-D, one supreme and only God. And here you are, you've been taught that God is the creator of the universe. Y'all see that? You have been taught that God is the creator of the universe. So you have been misled. Now, you should, or at least I hope, you remember all of the different meanings that God has. Zeus, Jupiter, Apollo, Jesus, Isis, so on and so forth. Magi, magistrate, master. Jesus is a master, right? He was called master. Y'all see that? That's one of his titles. But anyway, let's continue. Hence, in the Christian mythology, the equal respect paid to the apostles, or to each and every one of them, as to Christ himself. That's right. Christianity teaches that you should respect each of the apostles as one of Christ's brothers. Right? And if you did it to Christ's brother, you did it to me. So you're taught through your doctrine to give equal respect to the apostles as you do to the Christ. All right, y'all? Well, let's continue. And indeed, a great deal more, listen to this, as you will find throughout Christendom, throughout all the Christian religions, 20 churches built in honor to St. Peter, St. James, St. Andrew, and all the rest of them. 20 churches, y'all, except St. Judas Iscariot. For one, to the honor of poor Jesus. 20 churches to the apostles, but only one to poor Jesus. Y'all got it? So the Christians, they go overboard. The Catholics go overboard with their pretended piety, right? Just like the gays. What do you call them here? They call them lady boys in Southeast Asia. The men who dress like women. You can tell them. There's a few ways you can tell. One, they wear a lot of makeup. But two, they over-exaggerate. Like the way a woman walks, the mannerisms of a woman, they overdo it. Right? Why? Because they're not real women. Okay? The same way with the Catholic Church. They're not really honorable, honest people. So they overdo it. They're not righteous people. So they overdo it. They don't know anything about that. Okay, y'all? So it's the same thing. They got 20 churches to the apostle and one for Jesus. Anyway, let's continue. And hence you see with what an accuracy of analogy the apostle has a house of his own, while the Savior has nowhere to lay his head. Remember Jesus said that? Remember, Peter also owned a home. Peter had enough resources to take care of his consort, his heirs, and his mother-in-law, and who knows who else. But he's supposed to be a poor fisherman. Y'all remember? We went over this a video or two ago. So it was suggested that his wife washed clothes to earn more money. Wash, you need water, reference to Aquarius. amongst other things. You're welcome to sit here if you like. Okay, y'all? You're welcome to sit here if you like. Okay, y'all? So, we'll continue. So JC has no place to lay his head. What does this mean? The author continues. The constellations retaining their fixed relative positions, while the sun, the sun sun, in seeming to pass through them, that's right, the sun seems to pass through them, but actually the sun, y'all, doesn't pass through each constellation. Okay, it just looks like it passes through. But what's happening? Their light is mixing. Okay? So each constellation, its light is hitting the earth at a certain angle. Right? During each day of the year. Whatever constellation is there, that light is hitting the earth at a specific angle. And when the sun is there, now you have the combined energetic effect of the sun's light and that constellation's light hitting the earth at that specific angle. Okay, y'all? So the sun is not actually inside of the constellation. But anyway, let's continue with the analogy. The constellations retaining their fixed relative positions, while the sun, in seeming to pass through them, wanders from house to house. All right, y'all? Everybody got that? How that work? And hence, as you find Jesus in the gospel calling Peter a stone, you will find Peter in the epistle. So the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the epistles are those other books of the New Testament, okay? The letters. You will find Peter in the epistle returning the compliment. So Peter is now calling Jesus a stone and calling him a stone, and the drollest kind of a stone that ever was in the world. Quote, a living stone unto whom coming, end quote. He says, quote, as unto a living stone. Disallowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious. This is in the epistles. And this in accompanying, and this in accomplishment of that extraordinary prophecy in the 28th book of Isaiah. Quote, thus saith the Lord God, Zeus, Odin, Woden, Jupiter, Apollo, behold, I lay in Zion, Z-I-O-N. Behold, I lay in Zion. Y'all think Zion Law School. Isaiah 28. Behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. And he that believeth shall not make haste. Y'all got that? And he that believeth shall not make haste. Which for any explication that any of my reverend brother can give, and saving, most reverentially saving, the honor of the Lord, capital L-O-R-D, God, the honor of the Lord Zeus, Apollo, Jupiter, all of the supreme sun deities, y'all. Master, Magi, including those devotees, those worshipers of Saturn who wear black robes. sit behind bully pulpits in de facto courtrooms. Okay, when you say God, you're also talking about them. Who, you know, has a right to say what he pleases. Okay, so this God can say whatever he wants to say, right? Apollo, Odin, they can say whatever, the magistrate, they can say whatever they want to say. If anybody else had said it, I should say no. But since God said it, okay, you agree. Anybody else says it? Nope. I ain't trying to hear it, don't want to hear it. Okay? Next sentence. I won't tell you what I should say. Okay, next paragraph, page 158. And we then so positively commanded to worship a stone. Y'all got that? You're commanded to worship a stone. Jesus is the precious cornerstone. Jesus is the sure foundation. Jesus is a tried stone. Jesus is a stone. Peter said that in the epistle. So you're told, you're commanded to worship a stone and to believe in a stone. And that under peril of the drollest damnation, right? What happens if you don't believe, y'all? If you don't believe in the Christ, what happens? That every man was damned. And under the peril of the drollest damnation that ever a man was damned to, that if we do not believe in the stone, we shall make haste. What is that supposed to mean, right? Because remember, the verse in the epistle says, and he that believeth shall not make haste. So that means that he that don't believe it shall make haste. So that doesn't make any sense, does it? In terms of doctrine. You have to imagine and make something up for that. So let's continue. Let's see what it means. And does it become to us then to fling stones to stone, to fling stones at the pretended ignorance of our heathen ancestors? Should you stone them? And to assure ourselves that none other than the grossest litholatry could have been extended by those who addressed their devotions to the immortal statuary. Y'all got that? Statuary. That's idols, right? Stones. Don't make anything. What do you learn in the commandments? Don't make a likeness or image of anything above or below the heavens. Okay, no idolatry. That includes wood and stone idols. But yet here you're told that Christ is a stone, a precious stone. And if you don't believe on that stone, you're going to make haste. Y'all see the contradiction? Can you see the contradiction there? You see the breaking of the law? Don't bring any external gods before my face. Man, y'all, this is really difficult. You know, doing these presentations with all the distraction. Y'all see the sunlight? With all the distractions, the cigarette smoke, the airplanes, the noise. Somebody's still smoking. I'm still breathing in cigarette smoke. There's always something. I really need to get a studio. As soon as I have an opportunity, I'm going to get a studio, but I don't really want to pay to rent an apartment or another house just to get a studio. That's kind of like my last option, because I need to pay for it out of my own pocket. Anyway, let's continue. I lost where I'm at. Okay. All right. So, but by those who address their devotions to the immortal statuary of a Phidias or Prozaitlus, the Paphian Venus, or the Olympian Jove. Y'all should know Jove, right? Jove as in Jehovah, Tetragrammaton. All of Parian marble, so they're made of this fancy Parian marble, these idols. And of such matchless execution, very finely crafted, as if the design of them had been to present a perpetual admonition to the world, how clever, how infinitely clever man may become when he gives his mind to the arts and sciences. And what a fool religion makes of him. Okay, y'all? Oh, but cry my gospel innocence. The stone spoken of in Scripture does not mean a stone. No, it does not. The stone doesn't mean a stone, astrologically. And neither does the man spoken of in the gospel mean a man. Okay? And no such man as Jesus Christ, or such men as any one of the 12 apostles, ever existed. Nor has their historical evidence ever been pretended, but by those whose object is to keep mankind in ignorance. In other words, the only people who are pushing religion is the clergy. All right? And their objective is to keep you what? Pacified, in bondage. Y'all need to go read the Secret Treaty of Verona. Okay, go read the Secret Treaty of Verona. Go read the Papal Bulls. Intercateria. Read Doctrine of Discovery. Unum Sanctum. You should also read up on Manifest Destiny. Manifest Destiny in the U.S. Read up on that. Okay? Read up on Sexecute Trusts. Okay? Read up on the 14th Amendment. Okay, y'all? And what you're going to see with these clergymen and women, clergy or religion works with state. The role of the church, the role of religion, is to get people to submit. Submit meaning give up their birthright. Accept the government as being their master. And they accept the role as a slave, a bondman or a bondwoman, a stateless person, a civilly dead person. This is the role of the church. This is why, I don't remember exactly what verse it is, but this is why when you read in the New Testament, I don't remember, maybe it was Paul. That's why when you read in the New Testament, you'll find, I believe it was Paul, making the statement that only criminals have to fear the government and the government's agencies. Only criminals. So for a more, you know what our experience is with the policy enforcers. So the New Testament is saying that we're criminals. Right? You can't walk down the street without having to be concerned, worry about something happening with the policy enforcers, though you've done nothing wrong. Right, y'all? Yeah, worry about your teenager, whether or not he's going to make it home. If he's out riding his bike or in his conveyance, going wherever he's going. But yet the New Testament is telling that if you're worried, you're a criminal. Okay? So that means that you have other people, or others, let me say others in the society, who are looking at you like you're a criminal. Okay? And you may be conscious or unconscious of the fact that because you're thinking that, you think you're a criminal because of your indoctrination. Y'all see what I'm saying? And that the government is in power to punish you. That's what it says. All right? That's what the book says. I didn't make that up. That's what it says. Can I have this to go, please? Can I have it carry out? Can I have it carry out? Take away. Take away. Take away.
Ah.
Yeah.
No.
All right, y'all. The chapter ends in a way that I really like. Next video, unfortunately, I'm out of time right now. But the next video, we're going to go into which constellation represents, or which apostle is each constellation and why. Okay, which apostle is which constellation and why. But keep in mind, y'all, Jesus is the stone. Jesus is the stone. Now remember, Janus is represented as holding a staff, pointing it to a stone, and water, I believe it's water coming out of the stone. We covered it in the video just before this one. Okay, thank you so much. All right, guys, scholars. So Islam to all the Moors, and Shalom.